A woman lies in a barn, swollen past the shape of anything human. She's alive. She's awake. She asks the men standing over her to feed her because she's still hungry. Her stomach starts to move on its own. The men around her don't know what she's carrying, and every one of them is standing close enough to find out. The man who did this to her is the richest man in Wheelsy, South Carolina. Days earlier, he's just an unhappy husband getting turned down by his own wife. His name's Grant. Starla teaches at the school in town, and she married him young, and tonight she says no. She isn't cruel about it. He leaves anyway. At the bar, he finds Brenda Gutierrez, married, lonely, and glad to see him. She talks him out into the woods. Whatever the two of them came out there for never happens, because they find something else first. A rock sits in a clearing, cracked open, still warm. Grant leans in to touch it. Something inside fires out and punches through his chest. He drops. The thing burrows up into his brain and reads him. It takes his memories, his voice, his habits, and the one thing running beneath all of it, that he loves his wife beyond reason. Then it stands him back up and walks him home. That night, Grant empties the refrigerator. Every scrap of raw meat in the house is gone by morning. He carries the rest down to the basement and starts building something down there. Starla wakes up guilty about the night before and makes love to her husband. Afterwards, she finds the wound on his chest, a puckered hole the size of a coin. He brushes it off. She lets it go, because the alternative is asking what he was doing out in the woods last night. The appetite outruns his ability to hide it. He drives to the grocery store and buys a truckload of raw meat. He puts a padlock on the basement door. Starla notices the padlock. Then the pain doubles him over. He stumbles into the yard and kills a dog. It's the first thing in Wheelsy to die. Around town, pets stop coming home. Livestock turns up open in the fields. Nobody looks at the richest man in town. Grant changes in stages, and that's the cruelty of it. He doesn't become a monster overnight. He becomes one slowly enough that his wife keeps making excuses for him. His skin thickens and goes gray. His face swells out of true. Boils rise along his jaw and split. Then two tentacles work out through his chest. They move on their own, and they're hunting for something to feed on. Then, one evening, they find Starla in the shower and reach for her. But something inside Grant stops them. The alien took his memories. It took his marriage with them. With her husband gone for hours at a stretch, Starla goes to the Deer Cheer celebration alone, the town's opening hunting season. Mayor Jack McCready swears his way through the welcome speech. Police Chief Bill Party watches Starla from across the room and says nothing, the way he's been saying nothing since they were kids. Grant drives to Brenda's house instead. The tentacles go into her stomach and fill her with larvae. He carries her out to a barn deep in the woods and keeps her there. He brings her raw meat. She eats all of it and asks for more. Starla comes home from the Deer Cheer and finds her husband mid-molt, his face swollen off its own shape and sores opening along his jaw. She asks him what happened to his face. He tells her it's a bee sting. He tells her Dr. Carl already gave him something for it. He says it easily, the way he said 100 smaller things to her over the years. She calls Dr. Carl. Grant hasn't set foot in that office in over a year. The lie is small, and it's the last piece she needed. Whatever's wearing her husband learned how to lie to her from him. Bill and Deputy Wally come by the house. Brenda's missing, and neighbors saw Grant going into her place. They leave. Starla takes the lock off the basement door. The nest fills the room. It's built out of animals. Grant comes home. What comes through the door is only partly her husband now. He puts her on the floor, and the tentacles try to connect to her. She gets a hand loose and shoves him back. Bill arrives with deputies, answering the call she made hours ago about a doctor's appointment. The men in the doorway stop where they stand. Grant goes out into the woods. 3 days later, the mayor's leaning on the police to produce a suspect. Bill is called to a ranch full of dead livestock, and he finds the pattern. The kills are moving in a line. He can name the next farm. He builds a posse and sets up on the Strudemeyer property. Starla comes along. What walks into that field isn't recognizable as a man. It opens a cow. Starla starts walking toward it, talking to her husband, and the thing stops and listens to her. Then a man from the posse steps out with a rifle, and Grant splits him into two pieces. Grant goes into the tree line under a wall of gunfire. They track him to the barn. Brenda isn't a person anymore. She's a sack running floor to ceiling, with her face still on the front of it, still asking to be fed. Her body comes apart. Thousands of slugs pour out across the barn floor, and they go for mouths. Anyone shouting is finished in seconds. Starla, Bill, and Jack get their hands over their faces and live. Most of the posse doesn't. Then the slugs leave the barn and go looking for the rest of the town. Kylie Strutmeyer is in the bathtub when one comes over the rim. It gets into her mouth. For a few seconds before she tears it out, she's inside the thing. She sees Grant in there. Behind Grant, she sees what has Grant. It's an organism that's crossed from world to world, eating what it can and breeding into whatever's left. It keeps going until nothing on the planet is anything but itself. Earth's just the next one. She makes it out of the house. Her parents come across the yard after her, and her two little sisters come with them. And they're all speaking with one voice now. She locks herself in a truck and watches her family put their hands on the glass. Back at the barn, Bill runs for his radio. Starla, Jack, and Deputy Margaret Hooper start carrying bodies out. Wally sits up. He tells Starla he loves her, and he says it in her husband's voice. The rest of them sit up too. They take Margaret. Starla shoots Wally. She and Jack go into the woods with the town behind them. Bill sees the lights at the Strutmeyer place and pulls Kylie out of her own family. Down the road, he finds Starla and Jack running, with the town gaining on them. And he puts the cruiser through the man in front. Starla finishes another one with a fence post. They get in the car. Kylie tells them what she saw. Everyone infected becomes Grant, and everyone infected is also the alien. And it's done this before, somewhere else, more than once. Starla gives it a name. She calls it a conscious disease. Bill radios dispatch and tells Shelby to call the CDC. The slugs reach the station before she reaches the phone. The next voice on his radio is Shelby's, and it's lying to him. She routes him down a road where a van is waiting. The car goes over. The town drags Starla and Jack out of the wreck and carries them off. Bill and Kylie run. Bill works out the one thing that matters. All of it is being run from a single place. The hive has a head, and the head's still Grant. Kill Grant and the whole town drops. The station's where the grenades are. Something comes at him in the hallway, and it used to be a deer. Kylie's the one who puts it down. Bill takes the grenade and hands her a gun. At the Grant house, the infected are walking in and lying down on their own. Grant absorbs them. He's a mass of flesh filling the entire living room, and he grows every time another neighbor climbs on. Jack wakes in the basement while they're feeding down there. He gets to the stairs. The tentacles catch him on the way out and open him for larvae. Starla wakes upstairs. Somebody dressed her carefully, the way a man dresses a wife he's taking somewhere nice. She comes down through a house turned into a shrine to her marriage. Wedding photographs on every surface, music playing in the dark. Every picture is the two of them, and every one of them is from before. In the living room, the thing carrying her husband's memories is waiting for her. It's grown into the walls. It's kept her clean of every mouth in that town, and it's still asking the same question it asked her on the first night before any of this started. It wants her to love it back. She looks at it and tells it she does. She gets close enough. She puts a sharpened handle into it, throws her across the room. Bill and Kylie come in shooting. They find Jack, changed, and he asks Bill to end it, and Bill does. Bill goes for the grenade. Grant knocks it out of his hand, and it rolls into the pool and blows a hole in the water. A couch pins Kylie to the floor. The tentacles take Bill, and one of them goes through his stomach. Bill gets a grip on the other one and drives it through a propane tank. The gas goes in. Grant swells. He keeps swelling until his own body can't hold what's inside it. Starla picks Bill's handgun up off the floor and fires. Everything that used to be Wheelsy drops at once. In the house, in the yard, in the road, on every street in town. The sun comes up on 3 people walking out. Behind them, the town is bodies. Ahead of them is a road to the next town, a hospital, and somebody who might believe them. Back in the living room, Grant's brain sits in the wreckage. It's still moving. The cat wanders over to smell it. Something comes out of it and takes the cat. The cat's shot could be seen as a gag, one last gross out before the lights come up, but that reading's too small. The real ending happens a minute earlier. when Starla tells the monster she loves him so she can get close enough to stab him. That's the whole film in one move. The organism wins by erasing individuals, and it absorbed Grant completely, except for one thing it couldn't digest. It kept his obsession with his wife. That obsession is the only reason it's beatable. It refused to infect Starla. It kept her breathing, dressed her up, and built her a shrine. In doing that, it handed the survivors the one target in Wheelsy that would sit still and let her walk right up to it. An organism that eats planets lost this one because it wanted to be loved back. Underneath the slugs, it's a film about a marriage. Grant's already losing Starla in the first scene before anything lands in the woods. The alien doesn't create the problem, it just gives him the means. His love turns into appetite, and his need turns into a hive. By the third act, he's built a version of the marriage she can never leave, because everyone she's ever known is inside him. The alien crossed a galaxy, eating everything it touched, and it died in a living room, because it wanted his wife to love it back. The film arrived in 2006 as James Gunn's directorial debut, made for $15 million by Universal, after he'd written the Dawn of the Dead remake and the Scooby-Doo pictures. The effects remain practical wherever possible. Todd Masters and Dan Robert build the prosthetics, puppets, and barn. Fangoria puts the monster makeup on the cover of its April 2006 issue. It opens on March 31st, 2006, and it dies. $12.9 million worldwide against a $15 million budget with 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics liked it. Nobody bought a ticket. It won the Saturn Award for Best Makeup in 2007 and lost Best Horror Film. The film wears its influences, Night of the Creeps, Shivers, and The Thing, openly. It's the last time Universal Studios handed a first-timer real money for a practical effects creature feature with jokes in it. The man who made it went on to run Marvel Studios. But Shivers, the film he made first, is still the meanest, funniest thing on his shelf. If you enjoyed this recap, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help the channel. Thanks for watching.